Ben, welcome back to Berlin. Fast and the Furious 8. I understand that a lot of car manufacturers must be very mad at you because car safety seems to be kind of in jeopardy after seeing this movie. Sure. So, has there been any...
They're after me, man.
They're after me. But seriously,
they're downstairs outside of the hotel. All the manufacturers in the world.
Because I understand, like in the previous one, everyone would love to give you a cars in order to present it as one of the greatest. Sure. But some of them are kind of really getting demolished in that movie.
Well, so. They are. Of course they are. I mean, that's what this film is, at this kind of level of action. But every car company in the world would love to have their cars in this movie.
It has there ever been like a moment where you were driving somewhere and just a police cop just saw you and saw like, listen, man, this is not the Fast and Furious franchise. Was that maybe like once that you had like a downsize because you're part of this franchise?
I always anticipated that and acted accordingly. I always knew that if I was speeding the way I used to prior to being Dom, they would just have a field day with me. Right? We caught Dom Toretto speeding. I mean, you could just imagine. So I make sure not to speed at the wrong time, I guess. I can do it. I'm lucky that I have a saga that asks me to do it in service of art.
But again, I'm talking about the saga. This has to be the end because what else can there be added to a movie that comes in with torpedoes, submarines, zombie horde of cars? What else could you add to this saga? Seriously, after Fast and Furious 8.
Well, seriously, that's the same question I was asked at 5. That was the same question I was asked at 6. That's the same question I was asked at Furious 7. I keep getting that question. Every time the film comes out, I get that question. And don't think I don't hear the question. I go off and I deliberate about the question. I think about that question, I obsess about the question. What else can you add? What else can you do? The irony is, forget the submarines, forget all the action sequences. What blows your mind is what happens with the characters. Why you're really there is because of the characters. Why you're really affected, why the world's really affected is because of the characters. That's what moves you. When you get what, you know, what's more important, the submarine or having Charlize Theron come in and play Cypher the way that she does? But that blows your mind.
No, but to be honest, I never remember any Fast and Furious part to be as funny as this one. The Rock, Jason, Tyrese, they're so funny in this one.
They're so funny. They're so, we needed to balance. This was you know the movie, you saw the movie. We needed to balance comedy with how dark a road this was going, especially since Dom was seemingly going rogue. We had to find every opportunity to bring comedy into this movie. And we did, and we were successful in that, which is a great thing.
And do you think that this could also like influence now the character of Roman, who has been so far always like very, like almost like depressed and serious? Is that also going to change perhaps in the future?
For Roman?
Yeah.
Is he going to be more serious?
No, even more fun, because it seemed to be relaxed way more than before.
Right, he used to be a lot funnier?
No, quite the opposite.
He's much funnier now.
Exactly.
Right. I think we will see what circumstances each character gets put in. It may be some other characters that are challenged in the future.
All right, then looking forward tonight. Thank you so much.
Yeah, man, always, man.
May I say welcome back to Berlin?
Thank you.
Apparently you've been just like recently already here just to come back just to promote this movie. Is that correct?
No, I haven't been here for over a year.
Oh, that's what it is. Because like, you understand, like in the first moment that I heard that you're going to be part of this franchise, I was very surprised. But then I realized, is it perhaps that you've been working together with the director prior, or how come that you were invited to be part of this family?
I actually was asked by Universal to do this before F. Gary Gray was on the project. They started talking to me about it maybe 4 years ago. And they were thinking at that time to bring this character into 7. And so they were talking to me about kind of introducing this character in 7. And then they kind of decided against it, and 7 happened, came out, and then they came back to me a year later and they said, well, it didn't happen in 7, but we now want to kind of base 8 around her as the villain. And so that's really where it came from.
Well, you understand that, I mean, to describe your role correctly, you are a hacker. And you really kind of like are destroying the general image that nerds like hackers do have. Are you aware of that?
Well, she's a cyber terrorist, so she's not just a hacker. I don't want to give hackers a... She's a cyber terrorist, yeah.
And when it comes, it's all together, like coming with this movie, because like in general, like the last time, we just see like more and more into action movies. Is this like the new Charlize that we know, like the action hero?
I don't know. I think I've always kind of dabbled in different genres. I think my whole career is a bit of a mismatch of all sorts of different genres. No, I mean, I did do Atomic Blonde in this kind of back-to-back, but then I left and gained 40 pounds for Jason Reitman, and we did a small film in Vancouver called Tully. They'll come out the end of this year. That's a very, very small film, you know, about a mother suffering from postpartum psychosis. So very different from all the action movies that I've been involved in.
So Atomic Blonde, of course, that's like the trailer that I was like, that was the reason why you've been in Berlin then, before.
Yeah, we shot for 5 days here, but it was in, I guess, yeah, last January. So over a year, yeah.
So disappointingly, you haven't been for this movie in Berlin then, although that we might, I mean, without spoiling anything, Berlin could take a place within this entire story.
Within Fast?
Yeah. Briefly, an EMF, just...
Oh, I don't know. Oh, yes, you're right. We shot in, I mean, I shot in Atlanta, and then for 1 day in Cuba, which was pretty awesome. Yeah.
And again, without any spoiling, does it mean that you will also be maybe like in the future the next member of a family within this entire franchise? Is that a possibility? Or do you say like, no, I had enough now?
I don't think the family necessarily wants a psychopath to join their family. I don't think she's going to be like Deckard Shaw if she comes back. I don't think it's possible. She does too many unforgiving things in this film. I mean, she really is a psychopath. She's a serial killer. So unless they want that in their family, I don't know how you do that. Yeah.
People can change. And finally, again, also a question I would like to ask you, because to me it's not really such a surprise, but you have to admit that this is like a global phenomenon. What is it specifically about Fast and Furious, do you think personally, that makes this franchise so successful? At this point, the most successful franchise of Universal Pictures, apparently.
Well, of any franchise, I think. I mean, it's crazy that for 16 years they've been able to make these films and kind of grow with each one. I think the loyal fan base of this film, of all of these films, are, I think, the support and that loyalty comes from the cast. I think the cast has a chemistry with each other. It's a family that you really believe. There's something about Michelle Rodriguez and Vin Diesel, and now that The Rock is there, and Tyrese, and all of these guys, Chris, you believe them together. And there's a part of you that wants to longingly almost be a part of something like that. And I think that's what makes these franchises really special. And obviously the relationship that everybody had with Paul Walker. I don't think there's another film that really pays attention to an ensemble cast and how they kind of play with each other and work with each other as much as the Fast franchise does.
Thank you so much. And
thanks.
Looking forward to see you tonight.
Thank you.